It is one cold morning. Coffee's gonna taste good. Get my flintlock primed up here. Well, this season is rapidly disappearing. We'll be plumb gone in a day or two. Right now, I'm gonna turn on this, it's cold. I'm gonna turn on this buddy heater. Get me a drink of hot coffee. Oh yeah. Gracious. 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 Good Lord. Oh, Lord. Sit here in front of that buddy heater. Have a drink of coffee. Warm up from the outside and the inside. One fella commented, he said, probably ought to oil up my chair. Yeah, that probably could use a little oil, but most of that noise that you hear, oil won't help that. That's your clothes, your pants or your coat, rubbing against that leatherette cover. But it actually makes a little noise once in a while, the seat itself. And the rollers, that's just a hard roller on this hard, hollow floor. Oh, my word, that tastes good. And the warmth feels good. I don't know what the temperature is, but it is cold. An Alberta clipper come zipping through. Oh. this this might be the last opportunity that I have for this season. To try to get that doe from Quigley. I've passed up opportunities I've had right here this year, because I would much rather get the doe from farms that had a lot more does than I got. Jerry and I have done give it 3 or 4 days of a 6-day season, and we hadn't got a shot yet. And this in on the day before the doe season opened, Jerry has video of 24 of them in his pasture. 24, and he said, "That's too many. We got to get rid of some of them. We haven't seen a deer in that pasture in 3 days." And that's crazy how things like that happen. But this will be no doubt, this will be my last day. Probably be my last day here at the Quigley. So, and I haven't got that doe yet. So I gotta get them. I'll go up Jerry's this afternoon and the rest of the season, whatever's left of it. So this will probably, most likely this will be last day here in Quigley for this year. It's kind of appropriate that it be that cold outside. Nice and right, much more comfortable here in the Quigley. You know, as our muzzleloader season is winding down, and nothing's been moving this morning. I haven't seen the first deer or anything else. So just been doing a little bit of, letting your mind do a little bit of wandering, you know. And thinking back over a few things, particularly things that pertain to muzzleloader. This past year, and I've got a few videos up of shooting flintlocks, muzzleloader, and a little bit of experiment. This year I began to seriously question some of the things that's been accepted, you know, as conventional wisdom, things that I've done for years. I mean, when you got started into shooting muzzleloaders, you know, people say this, that, and the other, and you know, I didn't know anything about most of it, so they'd tell you this, that, and the other, and okay, that makes sense. So you sort of follow those. And that didn't really do a whole lot of questioning. But this past year, I began to question conventional wisdom in a lot of things. And a lot of my findings have flown in directly in the face of conventional wisdom. One of them is lubricant, you know. What kind of lube to use and how much and all that stuff. And when it comes to lube, my conclusion is you can't use too much, but you can use not enough. And that's just the exact opposite of what most people have always said, you know, just use just enough lube for this, that, and the other. But what's the purpose of lube? It's to lube things up. You know, people say, well, you use more lube than anybody I've ever seen. Oh, okay. That's all right with me. The reason I use a lot of lube because it works. People say, well, you use so much lube that it's just stripping out. You know, it's not getting a bite on the ball and all that. Well, that's just simply not true. It does too. But anyway, the amount of lube and what have you. And I began to touch on the question, the real sacred cow of patched round ball shooting. And that seems to be not only the material that your patch is made out of, but that all-important thickness. To just a couple of thousandths or so make all the difference in the world in your accuracy. Well, it can make a difference, and it often does make a difference. But why? Why does a slight difference in patch thickness make the difference in your accuracy? I've got a lot more experimenting to do on that, but man, what I've come up with so far, it's been very interesting. I've got some videos up on it and posted back in the summer of doing experimenting with various patch thickness from 10,000 to 20,000. And to my amazement, there wasn't any difference in the accuracy at all. 10, 15, 17, 18, 20,000. Didn't make any difference at all. None. Made absolutely no difference in accuracy. As long as I was using an over-the-powder wadding. And I use tow, a little wad of tow, about caliber size. You know, if you're shooting 50 caliber, you want a wad of tow about 50 caliber, you know. But I would put my powder in, put my over the powder wadding, which is tow, and you can use anything you want. Sometimes I use just a cotton patch, and other times you can use something like wasp nest or hornet's nest or leaves or whatever. But you want something over that powder to protect your main patch from all that fire and brimstone when the gun goes off. And if I use a 10,000th or a 20,000th patch and an over the powder wad, I had absolutely no difference in accuracy. It's going to take a lot more experimenting to come up with, at least in my own mind, what's the concrete conclusion. But what is science in the first place? Science is experimentation and observation. You observe the results of your experiments, and from that you draw conclusions. That's what I'm doing. I'm experimenting and drawing conclusions. Oh, all right. What I seem to be coming up with is that thin patch, that 10,000th patch loads so much easier than 20,000th in my rifle that it's ridiculous. I mean, one you somewhat pound down, the other just slides down. But I've got no difference in accuracy at all. And when I recover my patches, they're both, whether it be 10,000 or 20,000, they're in perfect shape. They can be used again. There's no cuts, there's no blow-bys, there's no burn-throughs, there's nothing. They're recovered in perfect shape. They look the markings, everything on them look the same. So really, one thing that's happening when that cartridge, when you pull that trigger and that powder goes off, all that gas force hits that soft lead ball. That lead ball expands. It expands. It sets up. It sets back. It's called set back or set up or whatever one you want to call it. Anyway, it sets back. The lead, that force hits that soft lead and it expands that lead out to seal that bore off. And so whether you got a 10 thousandths or a 20 thousandths, it expands as much as it can, as that patch lets it expand, you know? So if it loads easy for the 10 thousandths, or it's hard to load with a 20 thousandths, when that force hits that soft lead, it expands out to seal everything off. And it expands as far as the patch will let it expand. So it makes a good seal no matter what. And it's so much easier to load that thin patch that I wonder why all these years did I subject myself to all that hard loading when it's totally unnecessary. And then I did a little bit of experiment, and I've got to do a lot more on that without using an over-the-powder wad. And I did that. I thought, well, I've got to. And what got me started? I said, okay, for a quick follow-up shot, you're out hunting, you need to reload again. You don't want to be out there trying to pound that bullet down. You want a bullet that'll load, because you need to get back in action kind of quick, you know. So that's where I started with my first shots with that 10 thousandth thick patch. And I thought, well, I wonder if I can just even hit the paper, be on target or not. To my amazement, it shot just as accurate, just like the thicker patch was doing. I thought, well, my gosh. And so I started out, I was using that thin patch as a follow-up. Of course, you got a fouled out bore and all that. And like I said, I've got more experimenting to do, but preliminary results on that is, and I'm going to do a lot more experimenting on that, and this is from a clean bore every time. You loading up like you're going to go hunting, and, might leave it loaded for several days, a week or two or whatever. And we'll do an experiment, but of a clean barrel each time, I've shot the 10, 15, and 20 thousandths. Like I said, I see absolutely no difference whatsoever if I got an over-the-powder wadding in there. There isn't any, because it protects that patch. Now, without the over-the-powder wadding, now the patch itself has got to be able to withstand all that fire and force from detonation when it goes off, without burning through, without blow-by, without burning through. Because when the patch burns through or blows by, that's when you start losing a lot of accuracy, or I do anyway. But as long as I can keep that patch intact, everything seems to be fine. And one of the crazy things that I have, and this was a very little experiment, but I'm going to do a lot of experimenting this coming year with it. That thin patch, even without the over-the-powder wad, that thin patch came out great, looking great. With some of the thicker patches didn't. And I was getting better accuracy with the thin, easy to load patch, and it wasn't being torn or burnt, but having blow by, it's not burning or blowing by. And I thought, well, that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense, but maybe it does. Perhaps, perhaps, when I'm loading that tight patch, am I upsetting some of the integrity of that patch by having to pound it down? It's so tight, it's such a tight fit. Is it beginning to tear or pull apart or destroy the integrity of the patch, just the force that it takes to load it? Is that sort of destroying the patch? I don't know. But I do know in what little bit of experimenting I've done, without the over-the-powder patch, over-the-powder wad, to my amazement, I was getting better results with a thinner patch, which is flies right in the face of conventional wisdom and what I've been told and what I've been doing for many, many years. So this coming year, I'm going to do a lot of experiment with patch thickness. But I have done enough already that I know that if you're using an over-the-powder wad, patch thickness is absolutely not critical. It is not critical at all. I've shot pounds of powder doing that. It just, absolutely, it doesn't, patch thickness has not, from 10 to 20 thousandths in my gun, has not made a bit of difference, as long as I'm using that over the powder wad. And surprisingly, without the over the powder wad, but this part just a little bit of experiment, the thinner patch was shooting better. I gotta do some more experimenting on that. I'm sure that'll get a comment or two, but sometimes just questioning it, all of what you've been told might not necessarily be true. And if it's not true, you got to find out why. Why? And that's only through lots of experiment and observing the results. And all I can say is my results are, in my gun, my results were using that over the powder wadding to protect that patch. As long as that patch maintains its integrity, it really doesn't matter whether it's a 10, 15, 20 thousandths, whatever. But there again, what does matter is if I would take one of the thicker patches and it was real, you had to pound it down the bore, then that would not shoot as accurate as one that went down without a lot of resistance, leading me to think that I'm tearing up my patch. And that was with an over the powder wadding. But with the amount of fouling and everything, some of the thicker patches just hard to load, without swabbing out the bore. And I think I'm just sort of screwing up the patch, just trying to get it loaded. And then without the over the powder one, I have seen a tendency, it seems to be, that the thinner patches are more accurate. I got to do some experimenting on that. I really do. I'm not going to really draw any real conclusions there because I've got to do more experimenting. But by using the over powder patch, why in heaven's name have I saddled myself with those hard to load patches when one that just slides right down, pretty much just slides right down, shoots just as accurate? I don't know. Anyway, that's just sitting out here looking for deer and letting your mind wander around, But even though the muzzleloader season will end here very shortly, the muzzle won't. Still feels pretty good in here. I mean, it's cold. It's a cold, bitter cold day, but little buddy heater just set on low. Just sort of knocks the chill off, keeps it, I won't say hot, Because it's certainly not that, but it does keep it pleasant, very pleasant. Hey, Lordy. Been out here a couple hours and I have not seen the first anything except crows and blue jays and tweety birds. Well, like I said, it's been a strange year. The deer not moving in their normal pattern. Those deer are going straight opposite what they normally would. One, two. Yeah, Lordy. Moving in an opposite manner, or opposite pattern, what they usually do. Now, ain't that something? Now, ain't that something? And they're acting a little bit spooky. I don't know. Oh, is that a buck? Yeah. I've seen that buck several times. I'll swear this new tripod don't work any better than the old one. Well, I got a buck tag. I ain't even gonna think about trying for him. But he's definitely acting ready. Pretty, isn't he? Where does are flying around across the field, they're running everywhere. I could back off from that buck and show you. I mean, they are running around in circles, having a fit. He's just watching. Let me get off of him if I can see any of those does running around. And those does are running around all over the place. There he goes. He goes after him now. Well, that was cute. That little flurry of activity. It's over. They've hit back to the whoops. No, there they come back out again. Maybe they're just feeling froggy then. Starting to snow a little bit. Maybe they're just feeling good, you reckon? Oh, come on. That's rutting activity. You're in January. Where the buck went. Goodness gracious. Where did they go? I don't know. Look, that's a deer. Huh. I reckon that little activity period is over. But the snow's a fly. Well, I may not have gotten a shot there. That's pretty to watch, wasn't it? This is, early January. He's definitely rutting. That's pretty to watch. It's also pretty to sit here and watch the snow. It's snowing pretty good. I think they're only calling for a light accumulation, but dadgum if it's not pretty. If it's going to be as cold, might as well snow a little bit. Might as well have some snow to go along with the cold. That buck and those does. Going on somewhere. But it sure is pretty out there. Look at this. Let's turn around here. Look at this. Very pretty. Snow is one of the prettier things in all nature, really. Very, very pretty. I'll swear, some hunter I turn out to be. I got them does right here in front of me. I mean, perfect shot on that rye shoots. I mean, they're right in front of me. I'm not even offering to take a shot at them. Lord. Now, you know something. I mean, they're right here. Not 20 yards. I'm liking that. I'll do that next year. I'll overseed more rye in here. Never done that before. But they like it. I will do that next year. I mean, they're nipping that off as soon as it comes up out of the ground. And I could sure pop on them. But I ain't going to. You're safe with me, old girl. Go raise some more for next year. Spend all that time out here trying to get a perfect shot, and just here before the season closes, I mean, those are perfect shots. Right on top. That's not, first one's not 15 yards away. That one right there, shooting up 15 yards. Bang. Oh well. And in the snow to boot. Look at the snow on her back. Overhead. That means she's right under me. What a shot. God is good. I could sure get me some doe hides if I wanted. Note to self. Plant a little rye in here next fall. Just got one little patch of it there. Yeah, they're drifting away now. The big does is leaving. Pretty there with that snow on them, aren't they? Perfect shot. Perfect shot. I just opened that door, window. Bang. Yeah, that little coming back to mama. Yeah. No. What that is two does with their fawns. The other doe, she's stepped up on the heel here. The other doe's leaving. I'm just walking steady away from these three. Yes, sir. I will get me some more. Plant some rye next year. That's a good idea. I mean, there's some rye planted in that food plot up there, but not much. But I just took a couple of pounds of rye seed and just scattered it around out here in front of the Quigley. It's coming up. It's green compared to the rest of it. Anyway, they seem to really like the ryegrass. Which is fine. Eat all you want, girls. And the farmer across the hill from me, man, he's got the whole valley over there planted with rye. It won't be long for his fields will be plumb full of deer. Seeing all the deer in his rye fields is what gave me the idea. Planting a little bit of rye right here in front of the quigley. By golly, it works. Yes, sir. Couple more deer over there. On that hill, where the buck was chasing the doe a while ago. They have given me a few opportunities today. There's a couple over there. And then these are still over here. Yes, sir. Some doe hunter I am. Got 4 of them standing right here in front of me. We're 15. And one of them stood drifted. He drifted all the way out 25 yards. One of them's not 10 yards. Yeah, some doe hunter, man, I am, I swear. Yeah, boy. So damp, the wind is starting to fog up a little bit on me. That doe right there, she's maybe 12 yards. He finally moved just outside Flintlock range. He stayed here for several minutes.